What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to be creating 2 looks with the new Chicago Speakeasy palette from Nomad Cosmetics, and I am so excited about this one. Nomad is one of my absolute favorite indie brands. In fact, I just had a video go up yesterday ranking all the palettes that I have from them in my collection, so if you missed it, I will have it down in the description box so you can check it out in case you're interested. But I love the theming on this one. It is 1920s Chicago Prohibition, and I think they nailed it as far as the packaging goes. This really pretty tufted velvet packaging with the gold accents on it. It is giving Great Gatsby, and I absolutely love that. Even the outer cardboard packaging is on theme, and I might actually keep this one. I don't always, but that one I think I'm going to. Now, this is a 15-pan palette. It does retail for $59, and I love the color story in here. This is a color story that I could 100% see myself curating if I was giving the chance, because it does have these purples over here. You've got your neutrals on this side, and then this row of green in the middle. I absolutely love. I love a pop of green in a look, especially when it comes to purples. But this is a 15-pan palette. You do have 10 matte shades, and then you have these 5 multi-chromes in the middle. This is absolutely beautiful, and I'm excited about this one. Now, it is still currently available on the Nomad website, so I will have it linked and listed down below in the description box, as well as everything else that I use in today's video to create these 2 looks for y'all. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here on my channel, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. Now, I have already played with this and created one look, so I will show y'all that one first, and then we will come back and create our second look with this palette. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive in and create our first look with this palette. So, as much as I really want to play with this green right here, I think I'm just going to stick to more of the purples in this palette, since I just did a purple and green look. I've been doing a lot of those lately, and I want to do something a little bit different. So I think I'm going to reserve this shade for my next look. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here. This one is called the Drifter. Now, I do already have my eyes primed with my MAC paint pot in the shade Painterly per usual. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up that shade, the Drifter, with a Singe Beauty EO2 brush, and I'm going to start by putting this on the inner corner of my lid, and then just kind of bring it over towards my crease, kind of buff it down onto the inner portion of my lower lash line as well, just kind of making this sort of my pop of brightness on my inner corner. That is a very, very light shade. I don't know if the camera is picking it up. I can see that little wash of lavender going on, but I think this would pop better on my skin tone with more of a white eyeshadow base, but that's okay. I'm liking where it's going so far. Alright, so next I want to go in to this shade right here, which is just a little bit deeper than the first shade that I put down. That one is called the Violet Hour, and I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up with a BK Beauty 202 brush, and I'm going to kind of fluff this one in to the rest of the crease, concentrating it more so towards the inner portion, because I want to leave all of this out here for the other 2 purple matte shades that we have in this palette. But I am just kind of fluffing it in there, going in very whimsical. I am not doing like a big blown out shape or anything, but I'm also not doing this really precise either. That is really pretty. I'm liking these sort of dusty purple tones in this palette. I think they are really pretty. Of course, I do love a purple eyeshadow, so I'm a little bit biased. Alright, so we're just moving on the gradient of these purples, because I'm going to go in with the shade next, which is a little bit darker than this one up here. This one is called Blind Pig. I'm going to pick that up with the same brush that I just used for the last color. I just kind of wiped it off really good, and I'm going to put this on the outer corner of my lid, kind of blending it into the crease, kind of creating a nice sort of blown out shape, but more so just kind of like a winged look, how I usually do my eyes, and then really kind of blend it over to that last shade that I put down, making sure that we don't have any harsh lines. Everything is just blended, and we have a nice gradient going on the lid. So far, these shades are performing exactly how I expect them to from Nomad. I'm not having any patching, skipping, fallout. These are very easy to blend out. I'm not having any issues. So next we're going to deepen up this outer corner just a little bit with this shade down here. This one is called Knock and Speak Easy. It's the deepest purple in this palette. I might take this a little bit deeper. I don't know yet. I haven't decided, but we're going to go ahead and start here. So I'm going to pick this up with a Morphe M506 brush, and I'm just going to start to very lightly pack this right here on my outer corner, giving me that little bit of depth that I want. That's actually giving me quite a bit of depth, and I think I'm going to leave this here. I like what I have going on. I don't need everything to go super dark, even though I tend to. So before we move on to the lower lash line, I do want to mention that I did get just a tiny bit of fallout with this purple satin shade right here. It's not a matte. I don't think I mentioned that when I was picking it up. It is a true satin, but it just kind of fluffed away. It didn't leave a big old mess or anything like that. But for the lower lash line, I'm going to go into this green shimmer shade right here. I know I said I was going to do like a monochromatic purple look and reserve the greens for my next one, but with what I have in mind for my next look, I'm not going to use this shade. So I'm going to put this one on my lower lash line. And to do that, I am going to pick it up with, we're going to go in with this one right here. This is a BK Beauty 207. It's just a domed pencil brush. So I'm going to go ahead and coat my brush really well with this shade. And then once I have it picked up, I can spray it with a little bit of my MAC Fix Plus, just so it has a little bit of tack and it doesn't make a huge mess. And I'm just going to go right along my lower lash line and just kind of smudge it down here. And then once I have that shade where I want it, I can go back and start to pack it on, deepen it up, fluff it out, do things like that. And this is going on really nicely. I like the shade. This is really pretty, and it's just adding that tiny bit of color down here that I want. Okay, so for all over the lid, I want to do a combination of these two purple shimmer shades right here. So I think I'm going to start out with the darker of the two, which is called Aviation. I have already gone ahead and primed my lid with my NYX glitter primer per usual, and I'm going to apply these with a brush. I've really been loving this BK Beauty 203 brush to apply shimmers on my lid. Normally I'm a finger girly, but I finally found the brush that works for me. So we are going to roll with it. So I went ahead and picked that up on my brush. I'm going to spray it with my MAC Fix Plus. Even though I did prime my eye, I just want to make sure I don't get any fallout from the brush itself. So I'm going to go ahead and start to pack this shade on my lid, and once I have it down, I can go back along the edges and just kind of blend everything out. And that is one of the things I have been enjoying about using a brush for my shimmers lately, is that I can get into like the socket of my lid and just kind of blend everything out and get rid of that harsh line that I kind of get sometimes whenever I use my finger. And I really love the way that looks, but that is so pretty. This doesn't have any flips or anything like that, but it just has this really pretty reflection to it. I love that shade. All right, so next we're gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Chicago Fizz. I'm gonna pick that up with the same BK Beauty 203 brush that I just used. I just wiped it off really good. Again, I'm gonna spray this with my MAC Fix Plus, and I think I'm gonna put this one on the rest of my inner corner, or the rest of the inner corner of my lid and into my inner corner, just kind of blending those shades together, bringing it over and down onto my lower lash line, blending it into that green shade. That's really pretty. I love that. All right, y'all, so this is the first completed look, and I think this turned out really pretty. I am loving these sort of muted, cool tone, dusty purple shades. The shimmers, I think, look so reflective and beautiful on the lid, and I really do like that pop of green on the lower lash line with that shimmer shade. But let me show you what I used to finish up this look so we can turn down the lights and show you all the shimmer and the glimmer, and then we can move on to our second look with this palette. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner. This is in the shade Seafoam, and then I lined my lid with my ZC liquid liner, and then topped everything off somewhere with my Charlotte Tilbury mascara. Ah, here it is right here, my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerized mascara. Okay, so for my second look, I really want to play with these neutrals over here and then add this as a pop of green on my inner corner. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start with that pop of green. I always like to start with my inner corner if I'm doing something really bright and vibrant that's just going to kind of pop. That way it doesn't get lost in the rest of the look and I don't get carried away and end up putting something that I don't want in my inner corner. So I am going to go ahead and pick that shade up with a, a Sigma E42 brush. And like I said, I'm just going to pop this onto the inner corner of my lid. So I'm going to go in with very small, like circular strokes, and then I'm going to go back and kind of blend it up into my crease and bring it down onto my lower lash line just a little bit, kind of wrapping it around the inner portion of my eye. All right, so next I'm gonna go into this mid-tone brown shade up here. This one is called the Absinthe House, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick that one up with a BK Beauty 201 brush, and I'm going to put this into the crease of my lid. So I'm gonna start on the outer corner and kind of bring it over towards that green shade, but I'm not gonna bring it all the way to that green shade. I think I'm gonna go back with that really light kind of tan shade and kind of blend everything together so we don't get any muddiness, nothing disappears or ends up taking over the look. But this is going on really nicely. I like this shade. It's kind of like a camel brown shade. It's not quite like a true warm tone brown, but it definitely has a little bit of warmth to it. Next, we're gonna go into this lighter tan shade down here. This one is called Prohibition. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that one up with a Sigma E45 brush, and I am going to kind of press this right in that little gap between that brown and that green, just kind of blending everything together so it kind of flows really nicely. And then I'm also going to go back along the edge of that second brown shade that I put down and just kind of fluff it along there, kind of blending it out and softening those edges so we don't have anything harsh. I want the outer like perimeter of this look to be very soft. I don't want it to be heavy. All right, so next we're gonna go into this warm brown shade down here. It has this really pretty red undertone to it. It's almost like a bourbon brown color, and that's probably exactly what they were going for. But that one is called Windy City. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that one up with my Singe Beauty EO6 brush, and I am going to put this one into my outer corner, and I'm just gonna start to build up the shape and the depth that I want, and I'm gonna bring that about a third of the way over, and then whenever I get to the outer corner, I'm just gonna kind of fluff and blend and buff and make sure that it's nice and dispersed. We don't have any harsh lines. Like I said, I want to have a very soft perimeter out here, not quite a blown out look like I did for my last Throwback Thursday video, but I want something a little softer than what I normally do. I'm gonna take that shade down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line as well, just kind of lining up with what I have going on my lid, and then we'll go back with that last brown shade that I used in the crease and just kind of fluff everything out and blend this little gap together and soften up this lower lash line. All right, so I'm just going back with that shade called Absinthe House and just kind of fluffing it right along the rest of my lower lash line, kind of blending everything together. And I am going to bring it over to that green shade on my inner corner. Okay, so to deepen up the outer corner, I'm actually going to go into this black shade down here, which is called Capone. I was originally going to go in with this shade, but I don't think it's going to be deep enough to give me the depth that I want. These two are very close as far as depth goes. You're just getting two different undertones, and I do really appreciate that because you can get more of a neutral brown smoky eye, or you can get something a little bit more on that warm tone. But let's go ahead and dive into the shade Capone. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up with my Morphe M506 brush, and I am very lightly going to put this right here on the outer corner, just like that. I'm going to tap it on, and then once I have that shade down, I can go back with small swirling motions and just kind of blend it together. Now, if it ever kind of takes over and becomes too overwhelming for what you want, you can go back in with the last shade that you used out there and just kind of buff it out, but that looks absolutely beautiful. I'm loving the depth that this is giving. I think that was definitely a good choice. I'm gonna take that down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line as well, just kind of right here in that very outer corner. Okay, so my lid is primed with my NYX glitter primer, and for all over the lid, I want to go into this shade right here. It's this really pretty like green to gold to red multi-chrome, and I think it's going to be stunning all over the lid. Now that shade is called, I believe that's pronounced Boulevardier. I could be wrong though, correct me if I am wrong. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick that up with a BK Beauty 203 brush, and I am still going to spray this with my MAC Fix Plus just so I can minimize any fallout that I might get. So let's give her a little spritz. And I'm going to start by kind of packing this all over the lid, and then once I have that shade down, I can go back and start to kind of buff and blend, especially in the crease over towards this outer corner. And I'm going to stop about right there. I'm going to bump it up just to that green shade because I'm thinking I might go in with that kind of iridescent multi-chrome and pack that in the inner corner. But oh my gosh, is that incredibly beautiful. This may be my favorite shade in the palette. I love it. For the inner corner, I'm going to go into this really pretty iridescent multi-chrome shade right here. This one is called Gin Ricky, and I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up with this little unearthly brush right here. This one is a UC 8-5 brush, so I'm just going to kind of dig that into the shade a little bit. Once again, spray it with my MAC Fix Plus, and I'm going to pop this right here on the inner portion of my lid, and I am going to kind of top it over that green shade. I just want to kind of see how it adapts and like what kind of flips that green brings out. But that is so beautiful. I hope that you're going to be able to see like how it transforms when the lights are turned down, going from shade to shade, because that is absolutely beautiful. Alright y'all, so this is the completed look and I absolutely love this. I think it turned out incredibly beautiful, and as much as I love purple eyeshadow, this is my favorite look of the two, and I'll tell you what it is. It's that multi-chrome that did it for me. It is just so shifty, reflective, and beautiful on the lid. I love that neon green on the inner corner, and that iridescent topper multi-chrome is beautiful as well. But let me show you what I used to finish up this look so we can turn down the lights and you can actually see the shifts and the sparkles, and then we'll close out this video with my first initial impression thoughts. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Haus Labs eyeliner. This is in the shade Sierra Matte, and then I went ahead and foregoed the whole liquid liner thing. I just didn't feel like this look needed it, and just topped everything off with my Charmacy Volume Mascara. Alright y'all, so I'm just going to come out and say it. I absolutely love this palette. I think it is so beautiful. I had such a good time playing with it and creating these two looks. This one, I absolutely love. That multi-chrome is so insanely shifty and intense on the eyes. I can't get over it. But I think the packaging is really cute. I love this plush velvet with the gold on it. I think it is very on theme, and the color story in here is beautiful as well. As far as the formula goes, I didn't have any issues performance-wise. I think the mattes were nice and pigmented. They blended out really nicely. I didn't get any patching, skipping, or fallout. Even with this black shade down here, I didn't have any mess to pick up, and I absolutely love that. Now this does have 10 mattes in it, but I will say that this shade right here is more of a satin. You can definitely see that little bit of a sheen to it, and I pointed this out in the first look that it does perform like a satin, but you can use it like a matte as well. I used it to deepen up the outer corner. It didn't have any issues. Other than that, I really like the matte selection in here, and these 5 multi-chromes in the middle are so beautiful. This one is by far the most intensely shifty one in here and my absolute favorite, but I will say that this shade right here, I don't see much of a flip to it. It's the only one that I feel is a little bit more on the subtle side. It might have like a slight silver hue to it, but to me that's more of a duochrome than a true multi-chrome, but that doesn't really bother me. I don't need multi-chromes to make beautiful looks, and this one over here 100% makes up for that. If I had to re-rank all of my Nomad palettes with this one included, I know I've only created 2 looks with it, but I have gotten to every single shade except for this one right here. This one would 100% be a top 3 palette for me. I don't know which order I would put them in, but I do absolutely love this one. I think the color story is stunning. The execution of the theming, the packaging, all of it, incredible. I love this one. But that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Did you pick up this palette? If not, do you plan on it? Do you like the color story? What did you think of the 2 looks? Which is your favorite? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. Until my next video, have a good one. Bye.